how do you create a life and a business you can be proud of? Welcome to Tia Taxevity, where you get insights from insiders who make life better, our many clients and friends. My name is Pramod Sharma, and our guest is Michel Neray.
Hi Pramod, how are you?
I'm great, Michel. You are the founder of MoMondays. I've had the opportunity to attend, and it's a really amazing experience, but our viewers may not have had that opportunity yet. Please tell us what MoMondays is all about.
Sure, MoMondays is, well, I'll tell you what, we've all been to networking events and we've been to talks where there are expert speakers and we've been to comedy clubs, and maybe some of us have seen some TED Talks. Maybe some of us have been involved in personal transformational events where you really learn something about yourself and you grow. Well, imagine taking all of those, putting them into a blender, and out comes MoMondays. So really it's a monthly show where we have 5 to 7 speakers along with a musician, and the speakers talk about personal stories. They're sharing a personal story, something that is important to them, something where they've learned an important life lesson, and they're sharing it with the audience. And so 5, 6, 7 speakers get together, people get together. It's a great opportunity to really connect human to human. That's what MoMondays, and it's really fun. I'm sure you'll get into this, but we now have 12 MoMondays across North America. And the hosts are trained to keep the energy fun, like almost like comedy. But it's hilarious. It's fun.
Right, because when you told me about MoMondays, I think we were having a coffee near your place, actually.
I remember.
It sounded like a really great idea, because networking gets a little dull, and then watching TED Talks, I mean, you're just there by yourself. Yeah. So it sounded like an idea that was needed, but I wasn't sure if it would actually work. And it works brilliantly. It's amazing.
Thank you. Well, the one you were at a couple of months ago, I think we had over 100 people.
Okay.
And that's typically, we get around 100 people in Toronto. Some of our locations get more, some get less. But yeah, it's grown beyond my expectations.
Which is terrific.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have any more hours in your day than I do or our viewers do. What motivated you to start MoMondays, and how did you get started?
So, good question. I wish I could tell you that I had this highly strategic plan and I was brilliantly thinking it through and figuring it, but you know what? That's not what happened. Would make for a better story, or maybe not, I don't know. But really what happened was I've been a professional speaker for 12 years. I've gone to my fair share of networking events, of speaker events, professional association events.
Okay.
I had been involved in stand-up comedy, a stand-up comedy world at the time, so I'd gone to tons and tons of stand-up comedy shows. And at the time, my own calendar was not quite as filled as I would have liked it to be. So I said, well, you know what, I'm going to start my own event, my own show. And then I thought, well, what do I want it to be like? Well, I don't want it to be like those boring old networking events where it's just all about giving and getting cards and everybody has to get dressed up and nobody's really connecting, you know, in a human way. I wanted it to be fun because that's who I am.
Right.
I think I'm a fun guy.
You are.
Thank you. And so it's a reflection of my person. That's just what I wanted. I wanted people to enjoy themselves. I wanted people to let their hair down, even if they don't have any hair. Right. I wanted people just to relax and chill and not like at a professional event where you have to really be on your best behavior and superficial connections. I just really wanted genuine, authentic environment for people to share stories in. That's what I wanted originally.
It's interesting you say that, because we started off doing tea at Taxevity as a summer experiment. And again, we looked at other things and we didn't really like how they were. And my thinking was that very few people that I know are on YouTube. And YouTube is the #2 search engine. What's an easy way to get people there? And I realized that if you stare at the camera, that's really daunting. But if you're in an interview, then you can just talk. And so it's fascinating how I think there's some similarities. Now, you have a whole business, The Essential Message. How does MoMondays connect with that?
So I had to give that some thought because really when I started MoMondays, as I said, it wasn't like I had this grand vision for it, and it was only grew because people loved it. They more and more people started to come. I had friends from other cities say, "Hey, Michel, I want to start a MoMondays in my city, and how do I do that?" And I said, "Okay." And before you knew it, I had a whole operation going.
Mm-hmm.
And when I really sat down and thought about it, I said, well, what is it behind MoMondays that people appreciate? I think they appreciate the opportunity to enjoy themselves, have fun. I think they appreciate the opportunity to really connect with people authentically. I think they really appreciate the fact that somebody's speaking, but they're not trying to sell them a program at the back of the room or their DVD or their coaching program or whatever it is.
Right.
And the people on the stage who are sharing their stories, they're sharing their stories in a very personal way. They're digging deep, not that it's heavy or anything, although it can be at times, but they're digging deep into who they are, what they do, what makes them special, what makes them unique, what's their unique insight that they bring to the world. Okay, park that for a minute.
Right.
Now, my main business, The Essential Message, I help companies and individuals, I help them dig down to the core of their brand to really figure out their differentiation, what makes them unique and special in the market.
Okay, but here's what confuses me. So if I understand differentiation, then that means being known for one thing. Now, when I think of Michel, I think of MoMondays and I think of The Essential Message. Now, is that what you want, or should I just be thinking of one of those two things?
So let me just tell you the link between them, right? So in The Essential Message, I'm coaching companies and individuals on their unique position in the market, branding.
Yes.
The comment that I get most often from my clients, whether they're big corporate clients or small business or individuals, solopreneurs like yourself.
Yes.
The comment that I get most often is, Michel, I understand who I am or who we are at a deeper level than I ever have before. And then it hit me when I was thinking about the speakers who I have on the MoMondays stage and how I coach them for them to get their best story out.
Okay.
It really is digging deep enough. So, if you dig down into a company's brand to the point where it gets them unique, where are they unique? You have to dig pretty deep. And if you dig down to, say, a person's life, what makes them special, you dig down and eventually they meet.
Okay, so maybe this is what I'm understanding, that you're helping the speakers at MoMondays find their essential messages.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
I didn't start out by saying this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
But here's what happened. With first few MoMondays, people were just rehearsing their corporate speeches or their pitches and all of that. And to be honest with you, it wasn't very good.
Doesn't sound very interesting. That sounds more like regular business networking. Business presentations.
Exactly. And so the first 3 months were actually not very good. And we even got kicked out of the first venue because we weren't bringing in enough people.
Okay.
But that was a blessing in disguise, because here's what happened. About 3 things happened after 3 months.
Okay.
First thing was I started coaching the speakers. So tell us a story you've never told before.
Okay.
Tell us something more personal than you've ever told us before. Something that you wouldn't necessarily think you'd share in front of your corporate audience.
Okay.
So that was one thing. The other thing is because we had to move venues, we moved into a jazz bar that had a professional stage, professional lighting, professional sound. And what else do they have at a jazz bar?
Drinks.
Right. Alcohol. I think it made a difference.
Okay.
It just helped the social environment, the fun environment. People came there really for fun. And the third thing that I did that was different was I started asking people who were not professional speakers. I mean, once we had the model of having people who know how to craft a talk on stage, and people in the audience would come, I've got a story, but I don't want to be a speaker.
Okay.
And I noticed them in the audience. I would notice them. I'd go up to them and I'd say, you know, I know you've got a story inside you.
Right.
What is it? And it's the variety and the combination of having some veteran speakers who are absolutely amazing at their craft.
Yes.
Combined with the people who aren't polished speakers, but oh my God, they've got a phenomenal story to share.
Their stories are so genuine, and you think like, wow, like you don't get to hear those sorts of things because when you go to say a TED Talk or a TEDx, the people must have practiced those talks so many times that they're almost like an act in some ways.
Well, yeah, and it shouldn't be, and some are, some aren't. You know, I love TED Talks. I think that TED Talks are great, and you notice the ones that go viral are the ones where you have this ordinary person sharing this very personal story. And so that's who we've always been.
Okay.
We've always been about. That's why we say, you know, real people, real stories, real inspiration. It's not about wanting to be a motivational speaker. It's about really sharing from the heart. That's what attracts people.
Okay, now when did MoMondays start?
MoMondays started in February 2012.
Okay, and what is your measure of success?
So good question. Because now it's a real operation, I have financial metrics that I need to meet. You know, it has to be self-sustaining. There has to be, if it can't make money, if it's losing money, then I couldn't call it a success. But there are really two measures. So one is, you know, yes, it's moving along, it's sustaining itself. So from that metric, we're doing okay.
Oh, great.
Nobody's getting rich. Fine with me. My goal is that it spreads around the world, because my other measure of success is that it's making a difference in the world. It's making a difference in people's lives.
Okay, and how do you think it's making a difference? Are you thinking of the speakers? Are you thinking of the audience? Probably both.
Probably both. Exactly both. I'll tell you how. The process, in fact, this comment came to me by a speaker, and she wrote me an email after. She said, Michel, I had a hunch this would be significant, telling my story at MoMondays, but I never realized how transformative it would be.
Okay.
And we think we've worked through our stories. We think we have, but it's only when we're getting ready to share it with the world, and that we really have to process it, work through it, and come out the other end with the positive insight.
Right, okay.
Or else it just ends up being a wine fest, and wine with an H. Right?
Oh.
Yeah, so we don't want that. It really has to be a positive experience. Now, for the people in the audience, it's making a contribution to their lives, because we don't have to bring a speaker from halfway across the world. We don't have to bring a guru in.
Right.
You've heard the expression, the wisdom in the room.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we need the wisdom we need to hear could be the wisdom that the person sitting next to us has to share.
Okay, nicely said. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's really one of the real attractions of MoMondays. And we have so much wisdom. Have you ever made a mistake?
Me?
Yes.
Well, yes, I have.
Have you ever learned from that mistake?
Yes, you learn a lot more from the mistakes.
Yeah. And do you think it would be valuable to share that learning with others?
I guess it depends. Yes, if it's something that I think would be of general interest, then yes.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of what MoMondays is. I realize that people are sharing their life lessons. That's the definition of experience. Why do we make mistakes? Why do we learn from our mistakes? So that we can make other mistakes, right?
Right.
There are no mistakes, because they all contribute to learning. I truly believe that when we share our personal stories, not only are we contributing to the world, but we're also reinforcing a habit within our society, within our community, of being transparent. So this is who I am. I'm not putting on any airs. This is what I've been through, and you'll accept me.
Right. What I really like about MoMondays, or one of the things I really like, is that you've lowered the barrier to getting on a stage so that a normal person can feel comfortable talking to other people. It doesn't feel like a big event, though maybe it is to them, and
Yeah.
they've done a lot of preparation, but it just, you made an environment that feels inviting. And that's not easy to do.
And thank you for saying that. The balance that we're keeping is that it feels inviting, feels comfortable, and it also must feel professional.
Okay,
So
yes.
it's not amateur night.
That's right, yes. It's very well run.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's an important aspect. We want it to be professionally produced, professionally lit, sound, videoed, and that's why we provide the variety of speakers. Some veterans who have been on thousands of stages in their lifetimes, and other people for whom it's their first time.
Okay, now are you proud of the life and business you've created? That is our topic after all.
That's our topic, yes. So the answer is yes. You said created, so I'm going to change that ever so slightly. I am very proud of the life and business that I am creating.
Okay.
Because I feel that I'm still in the middle of it, and I hope I'm going to be in the middle, advancing in the middle of it for a long time. I've got a vision for MoMondays that it spreads around the world. Right now we're at 12, but I mean, imagine I truly believe that it's my little contribution to world peace.
Okay.
Because when we share our stories, we are not only reinforcing a habit or making the norm being transparent, authentic, all those kinds of things, good things that we say we should have, but I also believe that, we have all kinds of speakers at MoMondays.
Yes.
We have people who, any sexual orientation, color, ethnic background, and when they're on stage and they're sharing their story, you no longer see them as the label. They're no longer the label of a mental illness that they have. They're no longer whether they're gay or lesbian or transgendered, whether they're Jewish, Muslim, or Hindu. It doesn't matter.
Right.
What we see on stage are people.
Right, because that's one of the things I noticed is that when you first see someone on the stage, you say, wow, that person is so different from me. But when you've heard them talk, you say, wow, that person is so similar to me. Because we share so many commonalities that are below the surface.
You remind me of a comment that somebody made to me. There was a transgendered woman on stage sharing her story of how she felt so outcast as a child. She felt she was weird, something was wrong, she didn't fit in. Well, if you just ignore for the fact that she's transgender, that story about, we've all felt that.
Well, that's right.
We've all felt that. And somebody came up to me after she spoke and said, at first glance, I feel like I had nothing in common with her. But everything she was saying felt like I had everything in common with her. So that's what I mean about digging down to the human story. That's what links us all. And that's why if we could get past all the labels that we put on each other,
right,
and we just see each other as human, then how much better would our world be?
Right. Now, it's great that you are creating a life and business you're proud of. How can our viewers do the same?
So when you think about it, and you actually gave the clues out when you said how you started this interview process, because you looked around and you said, well, I don't want to do something like that because that doesn't work. I don't want to do something like that because that's just not my style. When you think about it, that's very similar to what I said. I wanted to do a monthly show or a monthly event, but I was fixing all the things that I perceived as being what was missing in the world.
Okay.
And I think ultimately that's all we can do.
But then how do people get the courage to take that step? Because you see a lot of people, oh, I could do this better, or that's wrong, or whatever, but all they do is talk. You actually did something. How can people get that courage?
Oh my, how can they will get that courage when it bugs them enough that they'll want to do something about it. And that's where I was. I was so tired of networking events where we were giving and getting business cards. I was so tired of professional speaker events where they were trying to sell you something at the back of the room.
Right.
I was tired of even stand-up comedy where I was laughing and then I'd come home and say, what was I laughing about? You know, it wasn't, there was an undercurrent of negativity underneath it all. I said, well, that didn't make me feel good. I laughed, it was cathartic,
Right.
it was great. But is that really what I want to be laughing at? So that was what I was responding to. And I said, and then that evolved to, you know, I don't want to hear you practice your marketing pitch.
Right.
I want to hear who you are. I want to tell me a story that really reflects you as a person. And that was driven because, and that's the link to my essential message. That's who I am. That's what I do. I dig down to find the real person, what makes them unique, what makes them special, both business-wise and personally. So
Right.
how do you get the courage to actually take, well, when something bothers you enough that you're motivated to do something, that's when courage becomes irrelevant.
Okay, nicely said. Well, thanks for all of the tips that you've given us, and it's terrific to see how you've taken MoMondays from an idea into something that's already in 12 cities, and who knows how many it'll be in later. Now, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Best way is online, MoMondays.com. So spelt exactly as it sounds, MoMondays.com, and that's where all the locations are listed. Somebody might be interested in hosting a MoMondays in a different city, and there's a link there that says, you know, become a Mo host. Somebody might just want to go to a MoMondays as an audience member. They'll do that, and there's a contact us page. That contact us comes to me, and that's the best way to get in touch with me. Find out more about what we do at MoMondays, or the Essential Message, or my last name.com, Neray.com. They all go to the same place.
You're easy to find.
Yeah.
And I'd encourage everyone who hasn't been to MoMondays to visit, and for people who have gone, to go back.
Thank you, Pramod.
Thanks for your time, Michel.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us for Tea at Taxevity. The Taxevity Insurance Advisory helps you understand insurance and bridges gaps in your coverage. There's no premium for peace of mind. How healthy is your insurance?